Aloha mai kako. I am Leanne Ferrer, Executive Director of Pacific Islanders and Communications. Thank you for spending time with us for an intimate conversation about the film Tokyo Hula, presented by Pacific Islanders and Communications and the World Channel. I would like to start today with a land acknowledgement. I am here today in Honolulu, Hawaii, speaking from the occupied lands of the Kanaka Maoli. And our kingdom was illegally overthrown by the United States in 1893, but we never relinquished our claims as a sovereign nation. As with many indigenous communities, land, or aina as we call it, is an important part of all we do. In our origin beliefs, land is in fact our older brother. Thus, wherever we are, we open space by acknowledging the land we are on and our ancestors whose wisdom, resilience, pride, and aloha have been passed through our DNA to enlighten generations to come and steadfastly maintain the sovereignty of our people. This year marks the 30th anniversary of Pacific Islanders in Communications, PIC. We are proud and honored to be the only national public media organization that is committed to supporting, advancing, and developing Pacific Island media, content, and talent that results in a deeper understanding of Pacific Island history and culture. We are also celebrating the 10th consecutive season of Pacific Heartbeat, our anthology series, with a hula trilogy of documentaries by filmmaker Lizette Marie Flannery. The trilogy explores the many facets and traditions of hula, from its roots in Hawaii to its following in Japan and California. With us today is Tokyo Hula producer-director Lizette Marie Flannery. We will be joined by Kumuhula Lehua Hula Kawai Kapuo Kalani Hewitt, Kumuhula Sunny Ching, and Kumuhula Lo'opaka Igarta de Vera. This conversation will be moderated by Kumuhula Patrick Makuakane, who is featured in Lizette's first film of her hula trilogy, American Aloha. This discussion promises to be an honest and candid conversation about the importance of culture and the fine line between appreciation and appropriation. And now to you, Kumu Patrick.
Aloha and mahalo for that lovely introduction. Aloha mai kako. And I am calling in from the ancestral lands of the Ramaytush Ohlone people, or Kapalakiko as we call it today. Welcome to our Kuka Kuka, our discussion on Lizette Flannery's Tokyo Hula, the final film in the award-winning Hula trilogy. Is it really the final film? We'll find out for sure. As mentioned, I am a proud alumnus of Lizette's first hula film, American Aloha, and I look forward to talking story with you folks for the next hour with Lizette and the Kumuhula featured in this final film, if they get here. So let's start off with a clip from Tokyo Hula.
I went to Japan back in 1988.
You know, I was called the trader of hula because I was in Japan selling my culture.
My remark now would be there's a whole lot of you selling the culture to the Japanese.
Last 10 years, the hula business has been growing in Japan. So many musicians, hula dancers, are now coming to Japan. So we're given the opportunity to see the real hula.
When things go global, more and more control is lost, which is one of the reasons why we really decided to come. So many instances of teachers here have studied for 2 years and they're teaching. there's still a big faction out there that looks at it as a money-making venture.
We thought that if we were here in Japan, maybe we could offer our knowledge of the hula studies that we have. I don't want to have the Japanese accent in our chanting. We're here for the culture first.
Whoa, and welcome back. And now I'd like to say aloha mai and aloha nui to Lizette Flannery, our director extraordinaire. Hui, aloha.
Oh my kako. Hi Kumu, how are you?
I'm doing great. So good to be like doing this with you.
I know, so fun.
So first and foremost, Lizette, ho'omai kai, congratulations on Tokyo Hula. Impressive, impactful, poignant. I laughed, I cried, it was better than Cats. It seems like we've been really talking about Tokyo Hula forever. I mean, it took quite a long time to create and to film and to edit. And now that it is the third in your series of final films for Hula, your Hula documentary, how do you feel that it is now complete? Any postpartum issues, a little sadness, gratitude?
Not necessarily postpartum. I think I'm very obviously I'm really happy that the film is finished. It took about 10 years to actually complete this project. The trilogy altogether, all 3 films, was something close to maybe 20 years. So it was a lot of time and a lot of effort, and it's been really awesome to get to share it. Obviously, things were very affected by the pandemic, so I have not yet shown the film or been at a screening in Japan yet. The film, which I am very much hopeful to do, but really excited that the film broadcast, especially with all of the films in the trilogy in the Pacific Heartbeat series this year on PBS. So just really happy.
Yeah, you should be. I mean, I'm super proud of the work that you've done. So you've been all around the world with your 3 films, premiering, promoting, networking. I'm curious as to how audiences from across the globe have responded to films about hula. Are most people still shackled to the idea that hula is a simple-minded dance done in a grass skirt? I mean, that was my experience for many years. Or do they come away with the cultural significance it represents?
I think anyone who watches any of the films in the trilogy definitely walk away with a deeper appreciation for hula and Hawaiian culture. Certainly I feel like those stereotypes that you're talking about were a big part of one of the main reasons why I wanted to make these films to begin with. I think from each film sort of organically kind of came out of the film that came before it. And, Hollywood and mainstream media definitely has kind of this image of what hula is. And I think that overall, I think people are definitely walking away with a deeper appreciation for the commitment, the art of hula as we know it, and they get a little bit of a glimpse and certainly a peek behind the curtain with these documentaries. I like to think that a lot of people who see these films also recognize, their own cultural practices that may suffer from similar stereotypes and misconceptions, and say, hey, we have the same thing going on over here. When I share the film in the world. So it's been a really interesting process.
So when you first started American Aloha, I mean, you might have been a part of a hula group in New York or just starting, right? Mm-hmm. And now today you have graduated in Uniki ceremony as a ho'opa'a. So your experience, your personal experience in hula has followed a really amazing trajectory. How has that influenced the way you create your films, like for Tokyo Hula, that you have all this sort of work behind you?
I feel like the 2 journeys have been like parallel. So, as I have been kind of working on my film work, I've also been, working on my hula studies with you, obviously, in our Papu'umiki classes. And then, my dad always likes to say that I like to do things the hard way, and he's probably here now, so he'll probably appreciate me giving him a shout out. And I feel like whenever I'm finishing a film, I'm also going through uniki. So it's sort of this interesting challenge, but it sort of is a part of my process, I think, in terms of making sure that I am doing the homework and making sure that I'm trying to get things right as I'm kind of going along.
Well, it's your work as a director that convinced me that you could do Uniki studies long distance, because all of the Hamana were here with me in San Francisco while you were in New York for the first one as you graduated as Olapa. Then you moved to Hawaii as you got ready for Ho'opa'a. And the only reason why I let that happen was because I know exactly how fastidious you are, and that your work would be complete and I would never have to worry about you because I know how you direct your films. It's like that. So congratulations again for being able to do both. Before we go off to the clip, the next clip, I know that Tokyo Hula was extremely challenging in some respects, more so than the others. Can you give us an example of what issues that may have happened that you never thought was going to?
Sure. I think that, in particular, I had never shot a documentary abroad, and I had never been to Japan before. Actually, the first time I went to Japan was with you and Kumu Robert after Nakamale, the Men of Hula. We did that Pan Pacific Hula exhibition. So I was really like a fish out of water in Japan. The language barrier was really tough, and just a lot of cultural nuances. I like to, like most folks, grab someone and hug them and say hello. You don't do that in Japan. Even just smiling, I had to kind of really sort of pull back a little bit and try to be respectful, or as respectful as I could of the culture there in Japan. But going back and forth from New York first and then Hawaii to Japan, taking a crew and all the equipment, going all over Japan on the subways and the trains because we were low budget, was really, really challenging.
Wow. Was there ever a time you thought to yourself, what the hell? Why did I choose this subject? I wish I just did costumes of hula.
I mean, there were moments, I think, where I had a really fantastic crew and we had a lot of fun shooting. We went all over Japan, really, all over Tokyo even. And it just was really sort of an exploration. I felt like I was sort of learning as I was going along. I kind of started with this question in mind, like, why do Japanese people love hula so much? And that simple question took me on this crazy journey all over the place. And I felt like I was asking the masters, like, what is the answer to this question? And no one really could, succinctly pinpoint it. And
that's what I love about your film, is that even the Kumuhula in the film are asking that question. Sunny poses it, I believe. They don't quite have the answer, which I think makes it even more interesting.
Right, right.
So I think at this time we're going to move on to the next clip of the film, and hopefully our other fabulous Kumuhula guests will be here by then. So, Hele Kako, let's go.
Then you have what I call wiki wacky hula. People teaching that are not authorized to teach or credible. Things created, other dance forms inserted into the hula. I'm all for moving forward. I'm all for expanding the culture. I'm all for expanding art forms. But there comes a point where it's no longer the hula. Though we can't be everywhere all at once, and nor do we think that it's our responsibility to be the hula police in Japan. I think it's our responsibility to do our small part to make sure that we're not contributing to that.
There's always going to be problems. You got to go there and you got to fix those problems. That happens here in Hawaii. That's part of the whole tradition. We learn through the fixing ka ho'oponopono ana o te la mau pilikia I pili ana no ka a'o ana o ka hula a me ka mālama ana o na haumana I loko o ka halau. So we are all going to deal with these problems within the structure of our schools with our students. But through that process, we learn, and we all learn together. And hopefully, through that learning, we can make this experience for everyone a very good and positive teaching one. That's what I would like to see. That's what I aspire to do.
The next contestants in.
Well said. Well, thank you for sharing this exclusive look at content from Tokyo Hula with us, Lizette. We'll have a chance to see another clip a bit later. Let's now welcome our special esteemed Kumuhula, Lehua Kawai Kapu Kalani, Kumuhula Sunny Ching, and Kumuhula Lopaka Igarta de Vera of Halau Namamo o Pu'uanahulu to join the conversation as we welcome back filmmaker Lizette Flannery.
Here.
Aloha. Aloha. And ohia, old brother Frank.
I don't think
Ole. Okay. Well, you know what, Lopaka, you can play the role of brother Frank when I have to ask him a question. Hello, aloha. How are you guys doing? So you preparing for Merry Monarch right at this moment?
Actually, no. We're not competing this year. I'm actually going to be one of the judges for Merry Monarch.
Oh, I don't know. Is that worse?
So I leave Saturday. Same restrictions.
Wow. Well, good luck with that, brother. So
Thank you. Mahalo.
Let's get right to it. Here's a topic for you that I feel merits an important discussion. I've heard it said often enough that Japanese dancers, they can be really good, technically speaking. Their precision and execution is flawless, but they don't have the heart. I don't feel like they have a true understanding of the culture and dance because, you know, only in Hawaii can you have the true heartbeat of the hula. How would you respond to that? What does your experience tell you?
I can answer that. Being in Japan for the last 15 years, I find that to be a false statement. I can only speak for our halau, is that they are able to reach deep within themselves to come to dance from within. They just need to be shown and to be pointed in the right direction on how to do that. In the Japanese custom, they don't share or show their expression, and that's something that their culture is raised to do. And there's nothing wrong with that. So when we went to Japan, when I moved there in 2006, I brought what we're taught home here and how we do things. And a lot of it is through example. If the kumu is teaching through emotion and is emoting what he or she needs to do, they will pick up on that. A lot of it is a trust that they don't expose themselves overly where they're not comfortable because they are private people. And we need to respect that.
Can I add to that?
Yes.
I think in what you said, Patrick, the statement that you made about hula, the Japanese people not being able to truly have the heart of hula,
which, by the way, is not my statement. I'm just paraphrasing what people.
Oh
say.
yeah, actually, that's been said. You know, I've actually said the same thing when I first watched Japan groups perform. It's like, wow, they're technically really, really great, but there seems to be something lacking coming from within the dancer. It also connects to part of the reason why there is such an affinity for hula and a love affair with hula by the Japanese people is because it allows them that opportunity to express and to connect to different emotions that they can bring forth in their dancing. So as Lopaka was just saying, it is something that we focused on when in halau. You know, when he first started, he'd call me from Japan and tell me about, you know, some of the things that were bothering him or some of the difficulties he was facing. And a lot of things that we would hear from the students would be, oh, that's not how we do it in Japan. Or that's not Japanese way. It's like, oh, but wait a minute. We might be in Japan, but this culture, this art form belongs to another culture or another people. And if you truly want to be a part of that, you need to do it the Hawaiian way, not the Japanese way. And I swear the first 5 years he was there, that was his constant battle. It's like, no, you asked to learn the hula and learn from us. We can only teach it in the way we know how, which is in the Hawaiian way. So our students really had to adjust their mindset in order to be a part of our group.
It's still an ongoing thing because I'm the Malihini there, yeah, and I'm infusing how we do things that has been how we do things in another culture, but half the battle is trust, that they can trust you, that they're not going to be feel like we're mocking them or going to embarrass them out in the Japan public. The other half is they really are finding out things about themselves personally, individually, and that's when it becomes beautiful. It doesn't look like a carbon copy because we all know all of our emotions are different regarding the same matter or the same story,
How we express
how we
those things.
express, and that's the color, that's the texture that we're able to create there. And once they get to that point, they are willing to do it, and I can see it. They actually take it back home. 15 years later, is that they're not just doing it in a hula or a mele, they're actually doing it while they speak. You can see the emotion. I can tell what kind of mood they're in versus before. Everything is just so black and white. So
Well,
it is
congratulations, because I've seen your dances in Japan, and I'll just tell you, I'm jealous. Great at every level. So you've done wonderful work. Speaking of trust, I wanted to ask you to allow someone to enter your Kumuhula world with your hamana. I mean, you have to have trust, because that's like, for me, that's like showing my Beverly closet. Well, I don't have a Beverly closet, but you're letting someone into something very personal. And when Lizette was doing American Aloha, I thought she was from Hawaii. That's how comfortable I felt with her. I thought she was from Hawaii, a local girl. She put me at ease right away. What was your experience with Lizette?
Oh, she's wonderful. We hit it off from the beginning. From the beginning, when she came to our condo in Komai with her crew, I was really nervous, especially because Sunny wasn't with me, and we always do things together. And I called him that morning, that, oh man, you're not here. What if I don't know what to say or my words come out wrong? And he said, just talk from your heart. You're there, you experience it, you witness it on a daily level. So when Lizette came, she made me very comfortable where she didn't speak at me, she spoke to me. And there's a difference when someone is
with you.
speaking to you and working with me. And as she interviewed me in the apartment, and as we went on our huaka'i to Ishinomaki, I got to know her even better on the train, on the subways and restaurants, and I was able to trust her, and I think she was able to trust me too.
So I'm
before
actually
you know it, you're spilling your guts.
Yeah, I did.
it made me feel very comfortable, and I did not know until right now that you were not from here. I thought you were like born and raised here and then moved to the mainland and
Right? See?
did all of your work there. So yeah, you
My
act like
mom is from here, but I was born and raised on the mainland and spent summers here. But I was in
okay. So
There
there
you
is
go.
that, yeah, there is that connection. Okay. Okay.
I was in New York for about 20 years. Yeah. long
So, Lizette, you've worked with a ton of Kumuhula in the history of your 3 films, right? And amazingly, you keep coming back, such resilience. And today you are now the Associate Professor at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. And by the way, you received the Board of Regents Excellence in Teaching Award, which is the highest university-wide honors. Awesome, congratulations. I'm sure that makes you very popular with the rest of your professors. Now, so you've been working with Kumu from the academic field at UH, and then you've been working with Kumu from the hula world. Is there a difference with working with those academic people versus the Kumu hula people? And if there is a difference, could you talk to us about that? And which one do you prefer working with?
Well, I am not, I don't view myself as an academic. I see myself first and foremost as a filmmaker. And I do love teaching, but I would say that my respect for Kumuhula in particular is massive. I mean, I am just amazed at the wealth of knowledge that any Kumuhula has to have. I mean, it's a lot. And you guys know that. I know that this is what you do every day. So I have just mad respect for, I feel like kumu really are scholars and academics and really have, I'm not going to say that one is better or worse than the other, but it's very different. And my heart certainly is always, more so with hula than it is in academia. I mean, as much as I love, teaching, I love interacting with my students. I think that I learned a lot from you being your student. I think that's how teacher-student relationships, can really work, right? You want to emulate your teachers. So
If you're a smart teacher, you learn from your students, because I've learned from you.
I agree, definitely.
And I have to say, I was in the first film, and my halal Robert folks were in the second, right? Men of Hula. But I think my favorite of the three is Tokyo Hula. There's something about there's an authenticity and a revealing of self that was very impactful. Like, I'm looking at the both of you, Lopaka and Sunny. Like, Lopaka, you just exude rainbows and sunshine. Your positivity you wear on your sleeve. It's beautiful. Sunny is a bit more introspective and enigmatic. So, how do you guys do this? I can imagine having two kumuhula in halal can make the workload much easier. But at other times, your opposing views can make it challenging. How do you guys work it out? Is there a clear division of labor? Did it take time to find your groove? Do you play good kumu, bad kumu? Lopaka, tell me if I'm on track. Do you say to your hamana, we got 15 minutes before Sunny gets here, you better have this dance down?
I do to today. Okay, to answer your question, I think I've been with the halal for 30 years now. Halal is 31 years. I'm sorry. The
halal is 35 this year.
I became an alaka'i, and the years that I was alaka'i, it taught me how to work with him. Because it was our earlier years of halal, so we're doing a lot of things, whether it's competitions, performances here in Hawaii. Then we started traveling around the world. It was through that experience and him being able to trust his alaka'i, not just me, but the rest of them. And now they're kumuhula as well. To do things the way he see fit. And we had to conform that everything that we say or do, we have to make sure that that's his words coming out, because that's his desire of the direction of where the halal he wants it to go, especially in the earlier years. We had to make sure we do that. We didn't go off on our own opinion. We could share our opinion, but when it came down to it, it was his decision what was going to be done and what wasn't going to be done. So I had a lot of years of practice. When I became kumuhula 11 years ago, I'm going to let him extend in a bit. It was a little rough. Because one, I was older. Two, although I think I'm pretty much almost a carbon copy. I can't be him, but if I do something, they're gonna still recognize Halal na Mamu Punahulu, and they're gonna know that's Sunny Ching. That he will always be the loyal, or whatever you would want to call the kumunui of this halal. But in the beginning, it was hard because we had to find out. From an alaka'i, I became a kumuhula in the same halal, so I had to gain the trust and respect not only from him, but from my once hula brothers and sisters that I was in the line with. So he stepped back for a little while, and I had to do everything on my own. Japan gave me an opportunity to practice as well, because I went there as an instructor, not a kumuhula. It was instructor.
He was an alaka'i at the time.
So I kind of got my feet wet there and made my mistakes really in Japan. Fixed it. And then he kind of overseen everything. Then when I came home, and the first few years of becoming a kumuhula, we had to work at it, because he wanted my voice to be heard. But sometimes my opinion might just be way off.
So no, it's not necessarily way off. So that was the adjustment that I needed to make with him becoming the kokumuhula of the halau. So, like he said, he's been in halau for 31 years, but for 20 something of those years, he's was able to voice his opinion or give his mana'o, but I had the ultimate say.
Right.
And if I didn't agree with it or if I didn't want that, it was very easy for me to just say, no, that's not going to happen.
Right.
This is what we're going to do. I had to catch myself once he became a kumuhula. It's like, wait, you asked him to stay. You asked him to come here and teach with you. You need to give him that respect. We are not equals. Just like Kawai Kapo Kalani is one of my teachers. I am not his equal. He will always be my loea. He is my senior. So for us to find that balance where he's recognized as the kumu and I'm still recognized as the founder of the halau and his teacher, actually, it took us a few years to find that balance. The first year we went back to Mary Monarch in 2014 after a 4-year break.
It was rough.
It was really, really rough. For the first time in our halau's history, we actually fought in front of the halau. Not like screaming, yelling, or swearing or physical. None of that kind of stuff.
We disagreed.
But we disagree, and we made it known in front of our class.
Right. And that makes it very uncomfortable for your halau.
Yes.
Right.
And it was kind of like towards the end of that preparation where we kind of realized, wow, we are not setting a good example. We are not being the kumu that we are. And we needed to fix that. So I must say we're much, much better at working together in that capacity now.
If you watch the performance of that year, 2014, you can see that there was a little struggle. If you watch the performance, when we watch the performance, we see it all over the place because we didn't quite fit yet. We're like here. I mean, we knew that we could do it, but that was kind of like our practice run, and we did it at Mary Monarch.
Another thing that I also needed to recognize was that I entrusted him to open the Japan Halau,
right,
and to run it, and he did an incredible job with imparting to our students there everything that I wanted them to get out of belonging to a Hawaii Halau. And so it's like, how can I recognize that and yet not give him that recognition home in Hawaii? So that really kind of helped me change. It's like, he runs halau in Japan. I really am more of a figurehead there than anything. He does all the work.
Impressive work then. And I wanted to comment on a line that you say to the dancers when they're going over an ole, and you say you want to do it to ensure that they don't have the Japanese accent. You know, once when I was a judge at Yahweh Ekala, Puakea was the language judge, and I turned to him and I said, does it bother you when you hear that Japanese accent with the chanting? And he says to me in Puakea fashion, we all have accents when we speak Hawaiian.
That's true.
Yeah. Right?
That's true.
Thank you so much for that, those sage words. Lizette, did you approach Lopaka and Sunny differently in crafting their section of the film?
Well, I think that there were other characters and subjects in the film that were Japanese, Kumuhula and Sensei, who were from Japan. And I really wanted to, focus on Kumulopaka and Kumusani because they were from Hawaii. But also, Lopaka is back and forth. This is pre-pandemic, back and forth, dual citizenship. I mean, it's incredible the amount of time and all of the energy that he expends to run the halau there. It's not just like a name up on the door. It's not just a halau name, which I think does happen sometimes, in Japan. He really is the kumu there. And so my interest in wanting to kind of focus on Kumulopaka and Kumusani was more so to show that this is the way that it could be done and that it really does make a big, big difference when you have that source and that connection back to here.
Well, now we have to head on over to another clip and then we'll kuka some more when we return.
students we have are wonderful. Their desire, their dedication, their discipline, their respect for the hula is tremendous. In our halau here, we have girls that travel 8 hours to come to class. Every week, they come 8 hours just to come to a class for an hour and a half. So as a teacher, that kind of dedication, that kind of discipline, that kind of desire just makes everything worthwhile. It makes you want to give. It makes you want to share. Along with that sharing, we try to impart the kuleana, the responsibility. Hula is more than just dancing. It's a lifestyle. So when you choose to be a dancer, and that's where I think a lot of people make a mistake. They don't really know what they're getting into. Because when they choose to be a dancer, they don't realize they're choosing a lifestyle. And if you don't adapt to it, then the experience is not going to be a full one.
Well said. So at this point, we are inviting the audience to ask some questions. And the first question I see is, how do you make corrections in Japan so that dancers can avoid cultural appropriation? Or are you both fluent in Japanese, or do you speak Japanese? Do you have a translator?
I
Or
can only
can they
order
just read your body language?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
bet.
A lot of it is you have to be a physical example. The kumu needs to be the vessel. Because the Japanese people are very observant. They really study you from head to toe and how the body works. And I think that's just a custom of theirs. They observe better than a lot of people.
Right.
And
So, oh, sorry.
and then I will go and I'll say I'm able to teach and direct and all that in Japanese, but if I need to get really deep into it, I do have help. I have my alakai there that are English Japanese speakers, and they also lived here, and that was part
That-
of
Yeah. I
the
wanted
deal.
that point to be made.
Yeah.
That especially the 5 of the alakai there have all lived here and worked and studied with us here in Hawaii first.
Oh, my kai. Here's another question. Is hula in Japan just the new ballroom in Japan? Remember in the 1990s, 2000s, when that seemed like the hot new fad there? I know the answer, but go ahead. Do you want to jump
No.
on it? Yeah.
It's
No.
not. It's been there way before we even came along. Sunny's grandmother traveled to Japan
In the
in the
50s.
50s.
And then she did her last tour in Japan in the 70s.
It was
So
already
yeah, this
there.
is way before this love affair began way before we were born. We weren't born in the 50s. So yeah.
Well, how many students of hula in Hawaii do you know will travel 8 hours to go to hula?
Exactly. I
No
tell
one.
I tell my girls that. I said some of you won't even, come if it's raining because it's raining, and we practice indoors. So yeah, it's kind
They
of crazy.
even go to hula during a typhoon. I've been there a few typhoons and earthquakes. Well, the big one I was there too, but they go to hula. I'm like, oh, do we still have hula today? Oh yeah, cool, we have hula. I'm like, what? At home, hurricane, everybody stay
Yeah,
home.
we stay home.
But that's a normal day for them.
Well, Lizette, you got to experience it because you had to take the train and go to these different halau. I mean, what was that experience like?
Well, I think that the women in particular that they're talking about came all the way from Osaka to Tokyo every week.
Wait,
And
is that an 8-hour journey?
that's
One way.
By bus.
One way.
By bus.
Us, one way.
One way.
Shinkansen, you
way.
can get there faster, but the cost wise to do it weekly, every week, yeah, she took the
Yeah.
bus.
Shinkansen is about 3 hours from Osaka to Tokyo. But they took the bus, overnighting. I leave first thing in the morning, like at 6 o'clock in the morning, arrive about in the afternoon, 4 o'clock, between 4 and 5, depending on traffic. Come straight to hula, get back on the bus that night, and back home.
There were times where we'd be leaving Japan and our students would be going back to Osaka. We actually reach Honolulu before they get home to Osaka.
So what do they tell you in terms when you must ask them, why do you do this? Why do you travel 16 hours total to come to hula? What do they say?
Well, they always say they love hula. That's one. Two, and with all humility,
They love
They
him.
love me.
And so they're willing to travel.
And I'm hesitant to say that because I'm not being ho'oi or anything, but that's true.
That's what they've said.
And I'm grateful.
Well, I have students who travel from Daly City, damn it. No, Lizette, what was the most bizarre discovery you made in terms of Japanese culture trying to conform to hula culture? For example, this person is saying how much they love the smile classes.
Right, the smile workshops.
Right.
I think it was more so that I appreciated, like I felt like I took smiling for granted after, I saw how hard they worked at perfecting a natural, heartfelt smile or hula. In particular, that smile workshop that's featured in the film, that was like exercises, and it was also to look young, and there was kind of not just for hula, the woman who gave those smile workshops, but it made me realize that there's all different kinds of challenges that the Japanese hula dancers face that we wouldn't even think of, that are cultural. Like Kumu Lopaka and Sunny said, that they're very reserved and they're very private, and just to emote, to express your feelings is something that's so critical to dancing hula, and that takes a while, for them to get to.
And I don't think it's just restricted to Japanese. My
Right.
students, the students that I know in Hawaii too, people have a difficult time opening up in hula. So we could all take some smile classes.
That was an aspect of hula in Japan that I had no idea about until I saw it in the film. So it's all these little side, I don't know what you call it, side ventures or side things to enhance your hula. I'm not too sure about those kinds of things. I'm a little mixed. Like, is that appropriation? Is that, or maybe not appropriation, but is that profiting off an art form or a culture? Because one thing we always say in our halo is we cannot teach you expression. By watching us dance, you can see how we express that mele or that particular part of a line, of a verse or something. But that expression is individual to us. We need you to pull out your expression, bring forth all of the experiences that you have had in life, which is what hula is all about. All our different mele and songs is all different aspects of life.
Right.
So getting them to tap into that, I think, is key to having them express in hula.
Go ahead. Go.
No, I just because Japanese people, they do smile, but then the smile looks like smile, and it's there forever.
And there's more to hula and expression
than
just a smile.
So what he and I have done, what he's taught us here, everything that I know to build the foundation of the Japan hula, I took from here because that's all I knew, and then I grew from there, working with different people and kind of figuring them out. A smile can be a lift of the shoulder, an inhale through the nose and an exhale. And as you open your mouth, that's a smile. A smile can be just through the eyes with no teeth, or mimicking a one word. That's a smile.
One of the things that we try to express or emphasize in Japan and here, of course, is everything is in the eyes.
Yeah.
When I look into the eyes, if I see that understanding, if I see the story being told in their eyes, I know that they are connected to that mele, to that time and place that the mele takes place, to the people, to the events mentioned in that mele. And that is what I think helps to transform you from just being a hula dancer into what we call in Olapa. An all-encompassing dancer.
I'm going to share something with you, because he said that with the eyes and everything, and I've never really done it here, but in Japan, they love to eat fish, right? So they know what the fish looks like laying on the ice. So I always said, don't give me dead fish eye. and they understood what that meant. The fish laying on the ice that you're gonna choose to buy is dark. There's no life. There's no nothing. So if I see that, I would say, I see dead fish eye, and they'll laugh.
And the first time I heard it, I was like, "What are you saying?
But
What do you mean?"
But they got it. I
But
gave them
then
an
I get it,
example,
yeah.
and they got it. So they were like, "Oh, okay, Kumu," and then you see the sparkle come back in, because then it'll kind of go dim. Then I gotta tell them, remind them, and then they'll say, Kumu said no dead fish eye. So it's a joke, but I use it till today.
I'm sorry that Brother Frank isn't here because he says something in one of those pieces that I think is really right on. And he talks about we learn through the fixing of something, how to become better at what we're doing. Do you have any examples of what you may have learned teaching there in Japan to ho'opolole something and you came out better for it?
Well, yes, it wasn't a good experience, but I did learn. And how to conduct myself as a kum. Was I a kumu already? I just became a kumuhula here, and I was back in Japan where I had a student that was dancing in halal for the entire time that when I opened to when I asked her, she had to leave because she was teaching hula at the same time while I was teaching her, and I had no idea. I did nothing. Lizette, I think I told you this story. I think I recall telling.
Right?
Yeah,
She was
and
doing it on the side.
yeah, she was doing it on the side, and I totally caught me off guard. It actually hurt really badly because the trust was already there. And we found out because sooner or later, like Kumo always says, I may not know now, but I will find out. It will reveal itself, and it did because of social media today, and everyone uses that platform. She slipped up and she advertised, and I have a little what do you call it, a patrol group of girls that patrols it for me to make sure that I don't get myself into something that I don't want to be in, and that's how we caught it.
So I think one of the things that we both learned out of from that experience too is, as much as we want to give, as much as we want to share, we still need to be vigilant and to be careful that the people that we are giving these things to are worthy, for lack of a better word, but worthy to malama that, worthy to have that kuleana. To have that kuleana is just it's a privilege, and we don't always think of that or remember that kuleana is a privilege. So like you said, it was hurtful. And the thing is, basically, she was like teaching her classes, running her classes exactly like we do. So,
yeah, I can imagine. And speaking of kuleana, I have to. Oh, go ahead, Lizette.
I'm just curious, like, why wouldn't she ask permission? Why do it on the side like that and not think that you're gonna get caught
Because
out?
we were still feeding her what she could pass on to her students. She wasn't.
And she also knew that if she chose to teach, that she could no longer be our student.
Yeah, it's in our rules. It's from the beginning. If you're a sensei, that's okay. We're not there to tell you can't. You make your own decision, but you cannot learn from us. And we do that here. If you only dance for one halal, not two or three.
Right. Well, I have to get back to the questions. Otherwise, it's like I forgot about the chat room. I just like ask my own questions. So let me see. Here's a good one. Someone says that they found that hula became a lifestyle for them and formed a new worldview and made their scientific identity come from a more relational and connected way. He says, my question is, what is your advice to convince some academic scholars that hula can inform one's identity beyond the halal and for indigenous science? Have them watch Lizette's films, but go ahead.
How do you answer that one?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the last part of the question again?
Right. So what is your advice to convince scholars that hula can inform one's identity beyond the halal and for indigenous science? Because we've known that hula is more than hula. It informs every aspect of our life, our lens. We see our life in the lens of hula. But most people think of hula as just a dance. But you've expanded that with your halal in Japan. They understand that it's more than just a dance.
Yes. It's kind of a difficult question to answer as far as how do we persuade academics to make this connection or realize the importance. Um, um, well, first of all, as an academic, you would think that they would want to explore another aspect of learning and how learning can affect all aspects of someone's personal life outside of Hello. So I really don't know how we can convince them. Other
That's not
than
our job.
yeah, pretty
But
much.
I think actually, you know, I've had many people come up to me and professors and say that these films are a part of the syllabus in their class. So they're
Great.
paying attention.
Great,
Nice.
great.
Lizette, go ahead, Sonny.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, Lizette, so this is the third that's what it says on your advertisement, the third and final film of the trilogy. But let's say you had to do a quadrilogy. Do you know that's a word, actually? And you had to do one more film. Any other area in hula that piques your interest that you'd like to explore if you had to choose something?
A while back, I was sort of interested in like Christian hula and the space of like, you know, like how is hula viewed within the Christian church? And you know, what does that look like? And you know, what are the issues that kind of have come up with, you know, people who are hula practitioners and then also people who are also Christian? And you know, that was an interest that I had at one point. I think that, you know, I would love to do something about hula in Mexico, which is also something that I don't know a lot about, but I know is also very, very popular. Not as big as hula in Japan, obviously, but there's a million different things. I mean, there's so many different ways that you could go. But I told myself just 3. But obviously, I'm going to keep making films and keep exploring stories from here. So I don't rule anything out. But this is the trilogy.
This is the trilogy. That's all right. We'll trust you on that. Lopaka and Sunny, when you look at this film, how do you feel that your portrayal was fair? Do you like what you look like and what you sound like?
I do. It's my first documentary, so you know I'm still new to the game, but it was it allowed me, Lizette allowed me to express myself in a way that I thought I could never, you know. She gave me an opportunity to explain and to show what I've been able to do. And I've done so little compared to so many other people, but I think what little I've done, I've touched people's hearts, and that's what matters to me, and that will help me continue to grow in the direction that I hope to go into, and stay focused and on track. So I liked it.
I think as far as the portrayal goes, I remember some things that were filmed or talked about that are not in the film, and I think that's part of the fine line, this balance that Lizette was able to achieve in the creating of this film, because you hear it expressed. When does it become a selling out of our culture? When does it be, how is the culture and integrity maintained? Also, there is a lot of side things like the Smile Workshop that happens in Japan that me personally, I don't care for. I don't like. So being able to express that and express the good things about our relationship with the Japanese people and hula, I think it was portrayed very well. And I'm grateful for the way it was created.
Like, you know, go ahead, come on.
I do want to say that, you know, everybody's saying about what we've taught the Japanese people, but they've also taught us a lot. And that it's a give and take thing. I think I'm a better person by I'm more disciplined, time efficient most of the times, not all the time, by being in Japan.
I do want to say this about Japan hula, and actually hula anywhere, yeah, anywhere in the world, but Japan will have a there's more of a opportunity for things like that to happen, and that is for people to really take advantage of the Japanese people. You know, they have a lot of hula magazines and things, and I see articles and stories about people that are so-called experts in their field. And while I do not claim to know every expert, who every expert is in every art form, from lua to weaving to la'au lapa'au or language or anything, I don't know all of the experts. I think finding out about them and who they are is very easy when I see something questionable. So I've seen people take advantage. I've heard of things happening where the Japanese people have been taken advantage of just for the dollar. Right. So, you know, there's this desire to buy the culture, but there's also this willingness of some people to sell our culture. And it's kind of funny when they're being written up as these cultural experts in not necessarily hula, just all aspects of our culture, and then they have no presence here at all. It's like, how can you be an expert there when you're not considered an expert in your field here in Hawaii? I'm sorry, I don't even know what the question is. I don't even know why I said that.
But I believe we're getting to the close of the hour, and so we probably have to say aloha and thank you to all of you. Continue your great work that you guys are doing in Japan. I mean, I love what you do with your halal in Hawaii and in Japan. So mahalo for the wonderful work that you keep doing. And Lizette, big heart to you. I'm so looking forward to seeing what your next film will be. And hopefully one day, boys, you guys will be in San Francisco, and I'll be happy to take you out for dinner.
We would love to. We're dying to go somewhere. We've been locked up.
This is the place. Come.
We just opened Halau this week after a year and a half.
Yeah, we have first in-person alo to alo class. Oh, it's been, the past 2 nights have been heavenly, yeah?
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that soon as well.
And happy belated birthday, Paka.
Thank
you. So I thank you again, panelists, for joining us, and everyone else who came in for our Kuka Kuka. We hope everyone is doing well and unmasking and feeling the air and relationships and getting out there and having dinner and whatnot and dancing hula. So aloha. Thank you. There's Leanne.
Thank you again to filmmaker Lizette Marie Flannery, Na Kumuhula Saniching and Lopaka Igarta de Vera for having a conversation with us, and to Kumuhula Patrick Makuakane for moderating this wonderful discussion. I mean, we really got some inside scoops on this. So thank you to everyone who have joined us for this special event presented by Pacific Islanders in Communications and the World Channel. You can watch Tokyo Hula on your local PBS stations and online at pbs.org and worldchannel.org. To learn more about Pacific Islanders in Communications, please visit pitcom.org. Aloha.